Fellas, in today's video, I'll be covering Iron Man in the simplified Marvel Rivals guide. Iron Man, I find, is a medium level duelist who can fly, not just levitate. Flying high allows for surprise attacks, and his ultimate, when landed, can eliminate an entire team, doing 1000 damage to each of the targets. In this guide, I'll be covering his combos, playstyle, and more, so whether you're new to Iron Man or need a seasonal refresher, this video will be for you. Iron Man's kit is rather simple to learn, but do keep in mind his basic and second attack do share a charge, making it a little bit tricky to actually stay on top of. Iron Man's kit does have some things that give him upgrades, and I'll cover that more in depth as I cover the upgrade, but as a general, I'm just going to cover each item individually. So starting off with his basic attack, Repulsor Blast. His basic attack does 55 damage, but every third shot is a dual shot that deals 65 damage total, with 10 charge use per shot and that dual shot using 16. This also has an area of effect of 35 damage. Now as you can see, he does fire a little bit slowly, but at least you don't need to be too accurate with your shots to do damage in clusters. Do note though that this does not have a damage fall off for the main hit. It also has infinite range, meaning you never should feel like you have to be up close and personal in fights. His second attack is Uni Beam. This is when you're a bit closer within a 25 meter range. It uses 10 charge a second, dealing a massive 120 damage per second. This is great at finishing off targets, and while you really shouldn't be getting close, this does a ton more damage than the basic, and will let you fight back against anyone who's trying to get in and close the gap. Now here's the fun ability, Armor Overdrive. This has a 10-second duration and a 20-second cooldown. This makes the basic and second attacks enhanced, changing them slightly. The basic attack will now use 1.3 charge per use and makes the area of effect 5 meters instead of 3. The projectile speed is also 33% faster, with the area of effect now doing 55 instead of 35. And then for your second attack, this hits for 180 damage a second with unlimited charge. Oh, and you can also aim the rockets, which I'll cover in a moment. Using Armor Overdrive is a ton easier to win 1v1 fights, but it will prevent abilities during the transformation, making you vulnerable. So hide and transform, but do keep an eye on your timer, because once that ends, it transforms again, leaving you vulnerable once again. So when this is in use, be aggressive, and when it's on cooldown, play a little bit more in the back just to be safe and go for poke and chip damage. Up next is Hyper Velocity on Shift. Normal use has 120 charge, while Overdrive has infinite. This allows you to fly around faster for 100 movement speed. It also uses 15 energy a second, as you can see on the right hand side there, and you recover 15 energy a second as well. So you can attack normally during this, you can use missiles, but it's best to use to get away or to get into positioning. And so when you're flying, Iron Man can do Micro Missile Barrage. It is a little bit awkward to land with the Armor Overdrive. Iron Man will fire 16 missiles or 18 with Overdrive, dealing 20 damage per hit or 15 with Overdrive. Normally they go in random directions, and I can't suggest using them with intent, but in the Overdrive, however, you can aim them, allowing them to be incredibly useful. And now he does have a team up with Hulk. This allows for Gamma Overdrive on the E button. Similar to the Armor Overdrive, has a 10-second duration, 20-second cooldown. It's basically a better overdrive, dealing more basic attack area of effect damage and more secondary damage. And then as a suggested combo, use your basic attack to shoot enemies and use your secondary attack to finish them off.
Maximum pulse.
That's a hell of a combo. It is a lot and looks pretty cool, but overall I don't think it's that great because it ends with the ultimate, which would have killed everyone anyways. So basically you're just going to focus on poke attacks, and if needed, basic attack, and then use your secondary attack, and try to use your Armor Overdrive as much as possible. Oh, and how can I forget Invincible Pulse Cannon? Invincible Pulse Cannon can devastate a massive area, dealing enough damage to obliterate an entire team. It will instantly one-shot anyone within the direct blast zone and still deal significant damage to those caught in that larger blast radius. This ultimate is incredibly effective for wiping out clustered enemies, but it does have a bit of a wind-up that can give enemies a chance to react. They may scatter, block you with shields, disrupt it with crowd control like Luna Snow's Freeze, or even reflect it back at you with Captain America's shield. Be mindful of those counters before using your ultimate. Keep in mind that while you're activating it, it also makes you a huge target as you lock into place while firing. Kinda like Scarlet Witch, giving enemies only about 2 seconds to react. Use your abilities to fly around and move across the map in ways that most characters can't. Look for a flank, look for an off angle, or even with a vantage point above the enemy to maximize the effectiveness of your ultimate. While landing a perfect 6-man wipe is satisfying, taking out 1 or 2 key enemies can be just as impactful in winning the team fight. Thanks to Iron Man's area of effect damage, his ultimate quickly charges, so don't hesitate to use it often. So how do you use this effectively? Iron Man's best advantage is always having the high ground. This allows you to shoot from angles, causing the enemy team to have to position differently and split their attention. It's also a pain to accurately hit Iron Man, allowing for even more focus to be drawn to him over the rest of your team. They will likely switch up to try and counter you, so watch out for snipers or even someone like Bucky who can knock you down, but you do have the tools to deal with those focusing on you. The main focus will certainly be dealing chip damage to the enemy team, allowing for cleanup by your team. This also means you'll be taking some of the attention away from them focusing on your team. But do be aware of your placement in the air. Healers will have a harder time seeing you, and while they're focusing on the front line and the tanks, an Iron Man 30 feet up in the air in the back will not be the main focus. This also means that the enemy snipers like Hela, Hawkeye, or even Scarlet Witch will be able to pick you off easy. And definitely do keep an eye on an aggressive Mantis, as they can easily kill you as well. Iron Man can be a little clunky to actually get moving with. That again is where sticking to the walls and using terrain will really make a lot of difference. He can also be clunky when using his secondary attack, keeping stationary in the air. This allows for easy pickings or to be taken down by someone like the Hulk. With this basic attack, the area of effect is great, but landing the basic attack can be more powerful than just using the beam attack. But one thing to keep in mind is that you do want to be holding your basic attack button, not just tapping it. Otherwise, you lose out on that third dual attack. And you remember those awkward rockets I mentioned earlier? If you use your overdrive, this can be a great way to get a sneaky assassination kill if you sneak up on someone hiding in cover. I didn't cover his melee as it is a little bit slow and I really can't suggest using it. But in a pinch, if the target has lower health, you can use it to try and get a kill in, as your other attacks tend to be a little bit slower. And then thanks to your flight being generally quiet, it is easy to traverse the map better than just about anyone else, so learning the maps will really set apart a good Iron Man from a great one. You don't need to be mechy, but you can go from being a backline poke to a flanking assassin who can take care of enemies and then getting away before they can retaliate. Overall, Iron Man is easy to pick up and will take you very far in ranked play. The flying mechanic is unique and gives a satisfying feeling to being a DPS who can actually wipe out a team fairly easy. Keep your angles in check and your position always changing, and you'll easily start doing well with Iron Man. And that's a wrap on the simplified Iron Man Marvel Rivals Guide. Tell me, did I miss anything, or do you have any tips of your own that you think other people should know? Leave it in the comments below. And hey, hit that like button if you're still watching, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next one.